What's up, everybody? Watch this. In 4 short years, one country splits in two, loses more than 600,000 of its own people, and tears itself apart over a single question. Can a nation survive half slave and half free? That's APUSH Unit 5, 1844 to 1877. Westward expansion, the slavery crisis that lit the fuse, the Civil War, and the messy fight to rebuild during Reconstruction. Stick with me to the very end, and I'll show you the single fastest way to lock all of this in before exam day. Let's get into it. It all starts with an idea: manifest destiny, the belief that America was destined by God to expand all the way to the Pacific. That idea drove the annexation of Texas in 1845, which angered Mexico. The result? The Mexican-American War, 1846 to 1848. The US won, and through the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, it grabbed the Mexican Cession, a huge chunk of the modern Southwest. But here's the catch. All that new land raised one explosive question. Would slavery be allowed there? The Wilmot Proviso tried to ban it, and the South exploded. So Congress scrambles for a fix. The Compromise of 1850. California enters as a free state, tipping the balance toward the North. To calm the South, the deal throws in a brutal new Fugitive Slave Act, forcing Northerners to help capture escaped enslaved people. And that's the part that backfires. The law outrages the North and makes slavery feel personal. 2 years later, Harriet Beecher Stowe's novel Uncle Tom's Cabin paints slavery's cruelty for millions of readers, hardening anti-slavery feeling and pushing the two sides further apart. Then, in 1854, the Kansas-Nebraska Act blows it all up. It lets those territories decide slavery for themselves by popular sovereignty, a vote of the settlers. The problem? It overturns the old Missouri Compromise line. So pro-slavery and anti-slavery settlers flood into Kansas and start killing each other in a mini-civil war. The paper's called Bleeding Kansas. Here's the payoff the College Board wants. That chaos shatters the old party system and gives birth to a brand new anti-slavery party, the Republican Party, dedicated to stopping slavery spread into the territories. Now everything snowballs, and you need 3 beats here. First, 1857, the Dred Scott decision rules that enslaved people were property, not citizens, and that Congress could not ban slavery in any territory. The North is furious. Second, in the Lincoln-Douglas debates, a rising Republican named Abraham Lincoln argues the nation could not survive half slave and half free. Third, in 1859, abolitionist John Brown raids the federal arsenal at Harper's Ferry, trying to start a slave uprising. The South sees it as proof the North wants them destroyed. And here's the breaking point. The election of 1860. Lincoln wins the presidency without a single Southern electoral vote, running on stopping slavery's expansion. The South believes their way of life is finished. So before Lincoln even takes office, South Carolina secedes, followed by 10 more states forming the Confederacy. When Confederate forces fire on Fort Sumter in 1861, the Civil War begins. The central question is no longer politics. It's whether the United States survives at all. On paper, this war looks lopsided. The North has the population, the factories, the railroads, and a navy to blockade southern ports. The South has fewer people and almost no industry. But watch the twist. The South has better generals early on, and it only needs to defend its own land to win. The North has the harder job. It has to invade and conquer the entire South. That's exactly why, despite all those resources, the Union takes 4 long, bloody years to win. 1863 changes everything, so lock this year in. Lincoln issues the Emancipation Proclamation, redefining the war as a fight to end slavery and freeing enslaved people in the rebelling states. That move lets black soldiers join the Union Army and keeps Britain from helping the South. Same year, 2 huge turning points. The Union wins at Gettysburg, stopping the Confederate invasion of the North, and captures Vicksburg, splitting the Confederacy in 2 along the Mississippi River. After 1863, the momentum belongs to the Union. To finish the job, the Union wages total war, targeting the South's resources and its will to fight. Picture Sherman's march to the sea, cutting a path of destruction through Georgia. In 1865, Confederate General Lee surrenders at Appomattox Courthouse, ending the war. Slavery is permanently abolished by the 13th Amendment. But here's the gut punch. Just days after victory, President Lincoln is assassinated. The nation now has to rebuild without the one leader who planned to do it with mercy. Reconstruction is the fight to rebuild the South and define freedom, and the College Board wants 3 amendments, cold. The 13th abolished slavery. The 14th granted citizenship and equal protection under the law to everyone born in the US, a massive expansion of rights. The 15th gave black men the right to vote. Don't mix those up, that's easy points. The Freedmen's Bureau helped formerly enslaved people with food, schools, and labor contracts. For a brief moment, black Americans voted and held office across the South. But the South fights back hard. Many freed people fall into sharecropping, a system that traps them in endless debt and poverty. Southern states pass black codes to restrict freedom, and the Ku Klux Klan uses terror and violence to stop black people from voting. Then comes the final blow. The Compromise of 1877, which settles a disputed election by pulling the last federal troops out of the South. With them gone, Reconstruction ends, and white Southern rule comes roaring back. And that's APUSH Unit 5. Manifest Destiny and the Mexican Cession, the Compromises and Acts that lit the fuse, Dred Scott and Secession, the Civil War's turning points and the Emancipation Proclamation, and the rise and fall of Reconstruction. You just covered the whole thing. But here's the truth. Watching is not the same as knowing. To actually lock it in, head over to AIM 5 and practice Unit 5 for free, with instant feedback on every question. The link is below. Now go get that 5, and I'll see you in Unit 6.